Anybody familiar with FCAT? Yeah. A lot of people criticize FCAT, but I'll tell you something. In about 15 years, we're gonna have the best group of writers in terms of formulaic writers. People who know how to give you a subject, a theme, and a development in their writing, be it letters, grocery list, or whatever, because of the way our kids are being trained under FCAT. One of the best training devices that FCAT uses is this. It's called a story spider. And it's something that I like to employ with writers who feel that they're stuck. Say you want to write about your mom, and say your mom is 90 years old. I just made that up. Your mom's 90 years old. And you want to write about it. And you've got all these stories from her. You've got boxes full of stuff, photographs. What do you do with this? It's overwhelming, isn't it? When you have all this massive information. What you do is you try something like the story spider. And what you do is you start with mom in the middle. These balls are things that impact on mom, the things that mom had impacted on. One of them could be something as simple as dad. One of it could be Ohio, if that's where your mom is from. It could be other with us, and what that means is kids. And you're writing a biography, a memoir of someone. What's another one we put over here? How do I fill this circle over here?
Friends?
Friends, good.
Sure she has some.
If you have any, yeah, or it might just be a big zero. But anyway,
Oh, what's that?
you know how when we're kids and we have a toy that we really like, the first thing you want to do, well, the first thing I wanted to do was take it apart to see how it worked. And sometimes I got it back together the right way. And when I did, I really understood that toy and appreciated it more. In other words, I deconstructed it. And when I reconstructed, I understood how it worked and I appreciated it more. I ask you guys, when you have your shoebox full of papers and photographs, or you have all of these tapes of interviews, deconstruct it. Blow it up into its constituent parts. All the information about dad. If you've got transcriptions of these conversations, put the dad stuff over on one side, the kids over here. I remember Ohio, the Cuyahoga River, all of Ohio stuff, the friend stuff over here. Separate it out, and what you'll have is two things. You'll look at relationships. You'll use your story spider. Some of these relationships are closer. Mom and dad, that's a lot closer than, say, Ohio. Or maybe not, mom really didn't like that. But you see, even that's part of the construction. The objects that are closer, they take more work. Those are the relationships that you build and develop as you start writing with this material. You go through the stuff about dad, and you might run across a letter he wrote mom when they were still courting. Or if you've got some tapes, it might be some tape where he's talking about the time when mom helped him out or did something like that. That's dad and mom. And so you see how once you separate it all, you can sift your material and know what you have. And you start building these relationships. Some are closer. It might turn out that one friend, as you go through your friend box, one friend really made a difference. He might have saved your parents' marriage. It might have messed it up. But either way, you'll either come closer or come farther. So that when you're finished with this, you'll have an idea of, if you look at this closely, it also looks like a solar system, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. In our lives, we are determined by the people around us. I'm Dorothy Henry's son. I'm Virginia Abraham's husband. I'm Adam and Adrian's father. You see what I mean? And those are not only names, but they determine how I act and what I do. For example, my daughter jokes with me, I'll never go to Emerald City. you know, that strip club, because chances are I'll run across some of her friends from high school there. I don't want to do that. And so you see how that determines sort of where, you know, if I'm out with my wife and a really good-looking woman walks by, the last thing I'm going to do is look at her because I'm married to my wife, and she'll kick my. And so now, do you see how we're giving life to these different groupings? How they determine if there were no dad, there'd be no mom, and there'd be no you. You see? The friends. Some of these friends. One of her friends, when she was a girl, might have said, why don't you go to Oberlin College? You were real smart. And so that friend, just as planets cause other planets to move a certain, that friend changed mom's life and might have brought her closer to dad. Those are the kind of things you develop once you separate your material, start looking at the material, then you put it together so that you have relationships like this.